Welcome to the program. Am I doing it right?
Woo!
Mike Keller alongside my wife, Katie Keller.
Wow.
We hope you're enjoying. Hopefully you're having a great start to the week or middle of the week or end of the week. We didn't know. That's the weird part about podcasting as opposed to the old radio gig. I knew exactly where I was. It was live, whereas podcasting is pre-recorded. It's actually, we're recording on a Sunday, and someone might not listen till Wednesday. Wild times.
I feel like a lot of people listen on Monday, though. I feel like that's when we see our peak listenership.
Well, yeah, I feel like it's a nice start to the week.
Yeah.
You know, give you the option of, instead of, the traditional radio avenue, whether it's a song you don't like or commercials, obviously, this is just good old-fashioned conversation between two people, and let's give it a go. Big announcement. Well, big announcement for me.
Yeah.
Probably not as big of an announcement to everybody else, but just so you know, I stopped doing the radio at the end of July, took a job at Bob Allen Ford selling cars. That has now come to an end. And starting today, actually, I have taken a new position in the same role, but I get to go a little closer to home, and I'm very excited for it.
I'm very grateful you'll be closer to home.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I spent, after 6 months at Bob Allen Ford, I think a lot of people in Kansas City can relate to this because they drive from one suburb all the way over to the other. That's what I was doing. I was driving from our house, which is not just Lee's Summit. It's like northern Lee's Summit. We live kind of near where the Mavericks play, kind of off near 40 Highway. And I was driving from there all the way to Metcalf and Overland Park every single day. And I was kind of tired of it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I felt real bad because I loved a lot of people at Bob Allen, but I was getting real tired of that drive. And if there was a day I had to work late at the dealership and then drive 35 minutes to get back to the house, it was obnoxious. So starting today, shout out McCarthy Chevy in Lee's Summit. We appreciate you. Thanks for taking me on. I can't wait to wait to get started.
Go buy a Chevy.
Go buy when you're riding in a Chevy and you feel something heavy. That's probably not a great start.
Yeah, no, listen to that one.
Boy, sorry about that. Anyway, but I'm excited. But can I tell you that the onboarding process to arrive at this next dealership was crazy.
Yeah, it was a little rigorous.
I mean, I told you a little bit of the story already, but the background check, it's like, you ever go into the grocery store or Target, for example, and you wouldn't understand this, but there are times where I've gone into Target and I've not bought anything because
I don't understand you.
You're
not doing it right. Am I doing it right? You're wrong. If you don't buy anything at Target, you don't go to Target for something. You let Target tell you what you need.
Well, I went into Target because I'm a man, and I went in for one specific thing that they happened to not have. So I left. But if you've ever walked out of any store without purchasing anything, you feel like a criminal. Even though you haven't done anything wrong, or if you're just going in for a return and you go up to the returns counter.
Hold on. Actually, no, I don't feel that way.
Okay.
If I walk in.
Some people will walk in, whether they walk out of a store without buying anything, or they go to make a return, and they go to make a return, and they don't realize that it's okay. You don't have to give like this full backstory of why you're returning an item. Just walk in and say, "Hi, I'd like to return this," and it's done. But some people will be like, "Well, so what happened was," like, you don't need a background story, but there's some people who just feel guilty.
Right.
Even though they're innocent. That's how I felt doing this background check. I was on the phone with this dude in Texas for 20 minutes as he's asking me all these questions. And like, my favorite was, he was like, "Well, have you ever been convicted of a crime?" And a lot of his job history questions went back like a decade. And I'm like, "Well, how far back you want me to go?" He's like, "I need complete and total honesty." And this guy's like a stick in the mud, no personality whatsoever. So I'm like, all right, well, when I was 19, I told him the story, but when I was 19 years old, I had beer in the back of my car. I was driving to my buddy's house, and we went through a checkpoint.
Yeah.
So we totally got definitely got it's called an MIP, a minor in possession of alcohol. Again, this was sincerely half my lifetime ago. And I'm telling him the story, and I'm like, "Yeah, so I got a minor in possession of alcohol when I was 19. He's like, "Were you placed in handcuffs?" And I'm like, "Well, no, I wasn't placed in handcuffs." I was like, "It was even worse. What happened is I had to get out. I had to dump all my beer. I had a case of Budweiser bottles. I had to dump all the beers out, and I had to call my mom to come pick me up."
You a bad boy.
I know, right?
Have you told me this story before?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's probably been a while.
It's been a minute.
That's one of those, like, I tell you that story. That's like a while we're dating story. So it's probably close to a decade ago I told you that story.
You're married to a bad boy?
No, you're not. You're married to somebody who had beer in their car when I was 19. When my mom picked us up from there, because it was me and a couple friends of mine, we got in the car and she took a deep breath. She kind of sighed. She's like, I'm just going to say one thing. And I'm like, all right, your mom, you have the right to say whatever you want. She's like, I just want to say that I'm grateful that when I was your age, and then she paused, and then she said that they didn't have checkpoints, which I appreciated.
Right.
Because we were stressed out, man. That was a lot. I was freaking out a little bit. So for mom to come in and just kind of give me like a little humorous break, we needed that at the time. And she's like, that being said, you're dumb. I'm like, no, I wasn't. I was actually going to spend the night at my buddy's house. We weren't planning on drinking and driving. We were driving to where we were going to drink and fall asleep. It's just that I was 19 years old. That's the problem I ran into.
Right.
Anyway, so I told this guy this story, and I'm just trying to get him to laugh. I'm like, yeah, they made my mom had to come pick me up. And he's like, but were you placed in handcuffs? And I'm like, no, I wasn't placed in handcuffs. He's like, all right, well, then it's okay, cool. Anything else? I'm like, no. Has your license ever been suspended? No. But, I mean, the detail he went into on this background check was insane. And I'm like, to sell cars, you need to know that I drove with beer in my car when I was 19 in 2005? All right.
Apparently.
That's ridiculous. Anyway.
But you've probably heard some stories, right? I'm sure. But he probably has to keep some sort of decorum, if you will.
Do you think when he hung up, he laughed and told his friend, like his coworkers, I just got off the phone with a guy who had a big personality?
Here's the thing. If he doesn't have some sort of like Twitter or Threads handle, like that of like background check stories, like anonymous, and he just like post, I just heard about this guy, anonymously, that time he got arrested way back when. I don't know, but that would be hilarious. Think about it.
I didn't even get arrested. I just got detained until my mom.
Okay, it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is like the story, like the stories he hears, and it's like the time when they made me dump out a whole case of Budweiser and made me call my mom. Tales from the background check stories. Hashtag background check.
You know what a good podcast idea would be for him is to just record every single conversation he ever has and then post it anonymously.
That's what I'm saying.
Highly illegal.
No, you can't do it. Very illegal.
Highly illegal, but I would love that.
Yeah. That'd be hilarious.
Anyway, you have had an adventure, so I'm starting this new job today. You have only been at your new employer a couple of weeks, and you've got to, you've kind of been all around KC.
Yeah. So last week, kind of super cool, got a little behind the scenes, a little event at CPKC, the new Kansas City Current Stadium.
Wow.
Which was super cool. We had an event in their premium area.
Their premium area? What does that mean?
I don't know what it's called. It's kind of like
the suites?
It's where the suites are.
Oh,
but it's in
wow.
It was in an area. So if you've been to Children's Mercy Park, they have their UMB Field Club. And then they also have like the third floor, which is where their suites are. So it was kind of like a happy medium between there. They had a cool little bar area. They were showing off their kits. They were doing all sorts of cool stuff. And we had a speaker. The new CEO spoke, and it was just cool to hear her speak. Tried the food. Food is delicious.
It better be.
It was very good. And it was at night. So we got to see the stadium like all lit up, and it was like in the teal and in the red. So it looked super, super cool.
Were you able to see the bridge in the background, like the lit up stadium, then plus the lit up bridge in the background?
Yes, from where we were, we could see it. It looked real cool. It was it was an overcast day. It was a little dreary. It was rainy. It was on Thursday. So it was just wet and gross. And so the weather wasn't great, but I will say it was super cool. I want to go to a match because I think it'll be cool just to kind of see everything finished.
So do you think with your, because obviously you were there earlier as kind of a corporate partnership thing. So are we gonna get like sweet tickets or what?
I don't know. Maybe.
Because I mean, holler at your boy, but you used to work at Sporting. And so now I'm spoiled by those seats. Like I can't go back. I can't just buy a ticket to a Sporting match and sit in a regular seat like the peasant now.
I know.
It's like us in concerts. Me working in radio for so long, I could never sit at the upper bowl of a concert anymore. I hear a lot of people say the same thing about don't fly first class unless you can guarantee yourself that you'll be able to afford first class the rest of your life.
It's a problem. I've done that.
You've flown first class? I've never flown first class before.
I've flown first class numerous times.
With who? Probably your mom.
With my mom, yeah. There was a couple times when I wanted to go visit her when I was pregnant and you didn't come with me.
Oh.
She upgraded me.
Did she really?
Yeah. It was great.
But that's super nice of her. With you being pregnant, I have no problem. Usually, Me, I'm the
Yeah.
I'm the cheapskate penny pincher, and I'd be like, that's completely
Oh, no,
unnecessary.
that's how I am too.
But-
Especially on a flight to Chicago. I mean, come on. It's 45 minutes.
But with your mom doing that while you were pregnant,
I was like 7, 8 months. I was big. So
I'm actually cool with that.
You want to hear
That's
something
very
really
good.
funny, actually? I remember the last time I went up there by myself when I was that pregnant to go see my mom. It was in the middle of summer. My brother picked me up from the airport and he looked at me. He goes, "Damn, look at the barrel on you."
How old is he now? How old's your brother? 20?
He's turning 21 this year.
Ooh.
He used to be my little booger butt. It's 12 years between us. He's so smart. He's starting his own business. I don't understand it and I don't ask questions, but he's doing some cool stuff. I'm really proud of him.
Your brother is a big car guy, way more of a motorhead than I am.
Yeah.
But when I told him that I was taking jobs in car sales now, he has become a lot more interested in my current career
has.
path. He's like, what do you got on the lot right now? You got it, and he's asking for these specifics. Like when I was at the Ford lot, he was like, "Well, you got any F-150 Raptors?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got a couple." And he's like, "Cause they got the X-liter V8 turbo, supercharged twin big dog daddy things and all the." And I'm like, "What are you?" This is me.
I know. I don't
I
understand
know what
it,
he was
but
talking
he's doing some cool stuff. I mean, we'll shout him out when it actually happens, but I don't know. I here's the thing. He's doing things and I understand nothing, but I hear it's cool. I hear he's a big deal. Apparently he's like car Instagram famous.
Really?
His car is, I don't know. Apparently like he'll be scrolling Instagram and people will keep sharing his videos and you get it to a point where people repost your videos and don't like credit you. That's where he's at.
He's getting his content stolen?
Yeah.
Atta baby, Aiden, you made it.
I know.
That's
Again.
great. Can I tell you that during my radio time, our dear friend Jenny Matthews, she actually had somebody made a fake account to look like hers, and she was like, "I made it." Like, it was and can I tell you that no one's ever tried to make a fake account of me, and so I do feel kind of left behind. Like I still have goals to achieve, be it in podcasting, broadcasting, whatever. I really feel like I haven't made it because no one's tried to make a fake
to steal
account.
your identity.
Yeah, no one's tried to steal my identity online
Right.
yet. So
Well, we'll
that
get
means
there.
you're not big enough. You're not there yet.
Well, maybe this podcast is where it's at, honey.
Well,
they might try and steal our podcast identity.
if you are going to take anything, if I can affect your life in a positive way in any way, this is how I'm going to do it. Pay attention.
Okay, I'm ready.
I recently had to take a trip to the Department of Motor Vehicles, the old DMV, right?
I hate these sound effects.
I know, but everyone loves them. You're the only one who doesn't like them. And here's the thing. That sound effect doesn't relate to my experience. I can tell you the last 4 times that I have been to the DMV,
Right.
I have had a positive experience. And I'm going to share with you exclusively on the podcast how you can have that same experience every single time.
Wow. Tell me more.
Could go to every time you go to the DMV from now on, it's going to be a good experience. And I can summarize it in 3 words. Ready?
Incredible. Do it.
Schedule an appointment. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Schedule an appointment and you will be good to go every single time. So I go to the Lee Summit Drivers DMV because it's the closest one.
course.
And I had gone there on it was like a Tuesday, and I had not scheduled an appointment, but I had some free time. So I walked in and I was just like, hey, because my driver's license was expiring.
Right.
So got to get it renewed. And so I go there and there's kind of a line out the door and I said, hey, what's the wait time? She's like, it's like you're over an hour. And I'm like, yeah, fair enough. And I was off this whole week. So I was like, I've got time. And I just asked, I was like, would you mind if I scheduled an appointment? She said, yeah, and there's a little QR code right there at their window. You scan it. And it's not like you had to wait. The appointments aren't set like months in advance. I went on the website and there were openings the very next day and the day after that. I happened to be getting a haircut the very next day, so I scheduled it for the day after a haircut because I think that's smart for when you're going to take a picture for something that's going to be in your wallet for the next 6 or 7 years. I thought it was a smart play. So I set up an appointment for Thursday at like 9:30 in the morning, whatever. Boom. I get there at right at 9:30, right on time. Very proud of myself. Walk in. There's already a line is out the door. There are people who are inside who are saying they're approaching the 1 hour wait time. I walked in at 9:30. I even had to wait a little bit before the next appointment, before it was my turn to go. I walked out the door at 9:50. 20 minutes in and out. new driver's license. Don't have to worry about it again for another 6 years. That's all it took. If you are tired of waiting at the DMV, and I actually say the same thing about car buying. I learned this since becoming a car salesman.
Yeah.
Set an appointment. Like if you, whether it's at the DMV or if you're looking at cars and you find one you like at whatever dealership it is, hopefully mine, but whatever dealership it is, like go online, find the car you like, and you can go with it. You don't have to talk to anybody. It's easier to call, but you can go online, just set up. I'll be there tomorrow at 3:00, and they will have the car pulled up for you. You can get your driver's license all taken care of ahead of time. It is so easy if you just schedule appointments.
Honey, I gotta check something. Oh, sorry, I'm just checking.
Your phone is like right up to your camera.
I'm just checking our bank accounts. I didn't know the Missouri Department of Vehicles sponsored this podcast. You're just talking so highly of it. You're making...
No, I'm talking highly...
I'm making a joke. Clearly, it wasn't funny. Okay, I'm sorry.
Not really at all. Sorry, here you go, Katie. There you go. You're welcome.
I was trying to make a joke. You're just like...
Yeah. There are some things...
I tried. All right, let's move on.
know. And you know what? You'll get an A for effort.
Thank you.
But just as far as execution...
Okay, I'm waiting for it. Do the sound effect. I know you want to. Okay, thank you. Move on. I'm done.
Anyway, seriously, no matter what it is in life, things that take time don't have to take time if you just set up an appointment. Schedule a time, and you'll be good to go, okay?
Okay.
Next on the agenda. Well, you have the next thing set up, and I'm trying to get you to transition to the next topic, but you're just not reading my vibes here.
I know. Well, speaking of things that take time, you had an issue with something that took you some time to make, and you made it for our daughter, but it went south.
I got
an angry phone call and angry text messages.
I was so mad. Okay. We have a 1.5-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough. But we're one of those psychos who decided, unfortunately, last year our dog Hank died. He was 9.5 years old. He was a little King Charles Cavalier, his best dog ever. And we have another dog, an Australian Shepherd, who was lonely. I mean, she was depressed, lonely. It was sad. And I felt bad for her, so we got her a friend. So now we have a 1.5-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old puppy going through the house, and it's a lot. And we've been handling it just well. This puppy has infuriated me more than I think previous puppies have. Like when our little Australian Shepherd was a pup, I know she made me mad a lot, but I feel like this one has made me more mad than Dolly did. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I honestly don't remember. But Chandler, for breakfast, almost every morning has these breakfast muffins that you found.
McGriddle muffins. It's a super easy recipe.
Where did you find it originally?
Instagram.
Of course you did.
I've tailored it a little bit, but it's just something that's easy. You can bake a ton of them, and then you throw them in the freezer, and then in the morning of, you just nuke them real quick. Yeah, we do the defrost cycle for like 45 seconds. They come out the perfect temperature. Yep. We rip them into little bite-sized pieces. She loves them. And like 5 ingredients in the entire recipe. It's super easy to make. And so she was running low, and I was off all this last week, and then you were obviously working. So I was like, you know what? Let me step up. Would you mind sending me the recipe, and I'll make these muffins? And when I tell you I made these muffins, I made world-class Chandler breakfast muffins. They looked really good. I was very proud of you. I was very, very proud of you.
Can we talk about how I sent you like 6 different pictures?
You did. And that was after they're like, hey, in the hypothetical situation, like, how important is it for me to spray the pan? I'm like, well, we're about to find out how important it is, but I would say it's pretty important. Yeah, because it says it's a non-stick pan, but all non-stick pans still stick if you don't spray Pam in the pan. Yeah, essentially. That was really good on my part right there. Yeah, it was good. Thank you. That was a tongue twister you had there. So I am a little nervous, but I'm also OCD, which I think is where I can do baking, because baking you have to be really precise. Right. And with me being OCD, I think that works into my favor. And see, what I like about this recipe is I don't have to be OCD on it. I just dump it all in there, and I can eyeball it. So I make this batter, make 12 muffins in the muffin pan, put them in the oven. They come out. They look great. Yeah. We get to the ultimate time, though. Can I get them out of the pan because I forgot to spray the pan with Pam? Stick a fork in there. I do the toothpick test that you taught me. Yep. The toothpick came out clean. All right, these things are done. Here we go. So I kind of moved around the edges of the first one. Katie, all 12 of these muffins come out easily. No crazy prying. They come out perfectly intact. Right. None of them rip or anything.
I'm feeling it. Now, we got to get these things in the freezer, but you can't take them put them straight in the freezer, fresh out of the oven. They have to cool first.
Yep.
Otherwise, the bag that you put them in gets all moisturized and all the muffins get wet. It's gross. You got to let them cool before you put them then into the freezer. So I leave them in the middle of the counter. This damn Russell. I go down to the man cave for a little bit. They're cool. And I don't have them on the edge of the counter. I have them in the middle. We have this little island in the middle of our kitchen. I have it in the middle of the island. And I don't think twice about it. And I come downstairs, I'm just like, whatever, da, 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 da. I go back up an hour later and I just kind of look, and there's a paper towel sitting on the floor in our kitchen. And I'm like, why is there a paper towel? Where did that even come from? And then I kind of looked up and I looked at the island and I realized that all the muffins were gone. And that little son of a gun had 12 breakfast muffins at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Katie, I was so furious.
Mad. I was getting text messages saying, we're getting rid of the dog. I knew you were mad. And I was actually at my event and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to deal with this later.
Right.
Like I was not about to deal with it, but these things happen. He's a puppy. And
sure, I know. It took me a day to come to that, and that's kind of the way I am. I'm somebody that when I get mad, when something truly life-changing, tragic happens, I'm calm, I'm quiet, and I just go, okay, what do we need to do?
Yeah.
But things like this, like the dog eating these muffins that it was my first time making these. I mean, when I tell you, I put some effort into these to make sure I did it right.
I know you did.
And then that little chump just ate all of them.
I know.
It really took me a day to calm down. I was like, Katie, just want you to know that I think I'm just going to give this dog to Casey Pet Project. I think there's just a better home for him. I mean, I was sincere. And then the next day I was fine again. I just kind of had to get over it. But I was mad.
But the fact of the matter, that dog, he loves your daughter. He loves all the women in your life. I know. He is so good with Chandler. He's a good dog. Brown, he's still a puppy. And I think we forget that because he is a good boy. It's not... He has his one-offs, right? Yeah. Where he counter surfs or he chews something up. It's not on a regular basis. That's the problem. But you know what? He's a good boy. The potential's there. He just has to get the puppy out of him.
I know.
And I think Dolly would be really sad.
I know. She needs a friend. Mm-hmm. We have this one dog, Dolly, who has always had a companion, and then right after Hank died, those first couple of months when she didn't have a companion, she's an Australian Shepherd. If you know anything about your dog breeds, these dogs are always energetic, always running, full of energy.
She also has really bad anxiety. Yeah. Like, if any dog needs a Xanax, it's Dolly, like on a regular basis. And
I just remember during that time, she was lethargic. Mm-hmm. I mean, just sad, depressed all the time. That's why people are like, "Whoa, what'd you get another dog for then?" My number one reason, sincerely, was for Dolly. So she had a companion, and now I think he annoys her because she's like, that annoying little brother. Any older sister can recognize the annoyance of a younger brother. It's the same thing with these dogs, but I also think if we took him away, she'd be lethargic again.
I think so too.
So, anyway, all right, Katie, let's not call it a comeback, but let's talk about things that are coming back.
I am, speaking of times of being mad, like 2 things this week I saw. One was on TikTok and one was in Target. I feel like all the fashion trends and things like that from when I was in high school and college are like making a comeback, and I'm not here for it.
Okay.
So 2 things in particular. Number 1, carrying around. Do you know kids these days?
Don't say kids these days.
No,
you sound like an old hag when you say that.
I am an old hag. All
you're
right?
not.
I embrace it. I don't care.
Don't embrace it. You're not an old hag.
I don't care.
You're like 30.
Baby, put me to bed at 7:30. I don't care.
That's fine, but just not kids these days.
Kids these days.
Okay,
you're
not that old.
Back it up. Get off my lawn. Number 2. They're going out and about, going to do their daily kid activities, and they're carrying around digital cameras just for the aesthetic. Excuse me, what? Do you know how hard I worked when I was in college to go out, and I would never go out without my digital camera. Mm-mm. And then I would go to the bar, do some activities.
Shots.
So many. Everybody. College Katie was wild. Take all my pictures, but then don't worry, get my hungover ass up the next morning to make sure I uploaded all of them to Facebook. No, MySpace was gone.
Oh, okay.
So, and label my album lowercase, uppercase, asterisk, squiggly line. Right.
Did you even plug your camera in with a USB cord to the computer?
Yeah. Yes. And then, are you ready for the next one?
Yes. So wait, hold on. They have digital cameras, like fully working, fully functional digital cameras.
Like the block cameras, like the big ones. I'm not talking when they became skinny. Like a block digital camera with a little screen, and they're out there.
But
It's
they're
for the
not
aesthetic.
They're not using it.
No, they're using their phone to take pictures.
But they're.
Do you understand my outrage right now? Do you know how hard I worked?
So I think some of the things that make me mad don't make you mad, and I think that's vice versa.
It's mad. I'm mad because it's stupid. Number one, like the practicality. When you're going out to the bar to go do whatever God knows you do, like you have to fit every tiny little thing into a tiny clutch because you're not carrying it around. Like you don't want to be carrying all these things around, then carrying your drink and then making sure you're going to dance and No. And you know how many times like I've been dancing and like you whack somebody with one of those cameras? Number one, you could take an eye out. Or like it could cause some damage.
Knowing you now and the fact that less than 5 minutes ago you said the phrase "the kids these days,"
Do you see it?
picturing you dancing because I never danced. Never.
I would get it.
I would karaoke bar it. I would never dance, and so I can see you the way how old lady you are now dancing with a digital camera wrapped around, like I'm sure like shoulder strap style, like over the left shoulder or on the right hip.
No, like it's on your wrist. It's like a little wrist thing. So like
yeah, a wristlet.
A wristlet camera, but you know it came with a little tether. So you had your wristlet camera, and then you had your little bag, like your little tiny clutch, your little Coach clutch with all the different colors on it. You had to carry that, which had your lip gloss, your fake ID in it, and all those things. Like it was work. Okay, so for them to make fun of it now, I'm offended.
They're not making fun of it. They're saying it looks good.
I'm calling bullshit. Nothing about that looks good.
Okay. Did you attempt? And how was your selfie game like with no ability to see the selfie while
so many duck lips? So many.
Right, but how was like your? I'm talking specifically like your aim. Like, did you aim? Because you know when you're taking a selfie. It
depends on how many drinks I was in. Like,
okay, but let's say sober, Katie.
I mean, I was average. I mean, it was fine.
Did you get everyone in the frame? Because you know when you're taking a selfie with a digital camera, you don't have the screen. You can't see how if you've got everyone in the shot. So I'm just kind of curious how your skills were.
I mean, I think I did fine.
Okay,
but like,
did you hold it up high? Can you get all the chins out? Okay, good.
But then there was a lot of like peace sign and duck lips, and things like that.
Deuces and duck lips.
And then here's the point. Then you would hit a point right in the middle of the night where it was like past midnight, you're still drinking, you're still vibing, right? Then you're dancing on the floor and you got some guy behind you and you're just like, whatever.
I love that this is hold on just a second. I love that this is the first episode that we're publishing as a video on YouTube and you just busted out the most mom-ass dance move I've ever seen.
You're getting it. It's like, and then all of it, like you're like, oh shit, I need to take a picture, and then you just put your camera up and just take the picture, praying that you get some of your friends in there, like of the dance floor, but you don't see anybody. So it's bad. I'm offended, like officially offended.
Okay.
Anybody who does this, please give me a call. Give me some reasoning.
Yeah, give Katie a call on the old dial rotary telephone.
Go to your nearest payphone.
Maybe find the nearest homing pigeon and send her a You know what? Call up the Pony Express. All right,
that'd be great.
And have a horse just giddy up. You're an equestrian. Just giddy up that old handwritten letter over to us.
It'll be great. Thank you.
Is there anything else that the kids are doing?
Yeah, there is actually. Okay, one more thing.
Okay.
One fashion trend that never ever, and I mean ever needs to make a comeback. Low-rise jeans.
Why?
Because
I like low-rise jeans.
Practicality. First off, if your butt crack's not popping out, something in the front's popping out because that zipper is only about like 4 inches.
Okay.
And
but wearing if low-rise comes back in, doesn't that then like that kind of gives us motivation to do some sit-ups and keep the belly nice and flat? You know, let's go. Ugh.
I'm a mom. I've had a baby. Nothing's where it needs to be anymore. All right. I have stretch marks. Not gonna lie, my nipples go in different directions too. Like, honey, it's no business. Nobody has any business wearing low-rise jeans.
Don't worry, that will not make it on video. By the way.
No, it's not that kind of video.
I know. Oh my gosh. Okay, so low-rise jeans are a no for you.
Hard pass. Hard pass.
Let's bring back some Jinko jeans. I think, you know what I
I
think?
never had Jinko jeans.
I know, that was a guy's trend. That was a boy's trend.
Yeah.
That was the sixth grade era, the wallet change and the giant parachute jeans. I wouldn't be surprised, especially now with the rise of Lainey Wilson, to see bell bottoms really
But
come
they're
back
already
into fashion.
making a comeback, honey.
But like, I'm talking, you say that, but I don't know. Okay, to the point where the common folk like me would even notice that they're coming back. I say 5 years or less, and you'll see bell bottoms being very popular. That's my guess. That's my guess.
Okay, I have one more thing. It just popped into my head because I'm mad about it too.
Okay.
Another trend. Apparently it came back last year. Nobody told me. Belly button rings. So I'm on Instagram and I see these moms posting about, oh, look at me just trying to squish my belly button hole back open where I had my belly button ring when I was 20. No.
Wait, so this not young people? It's moms trying to get.
They're trying to be trendy again. They're like, yeah, don't worry. I still got my belly button ring hole. And dude, that closes up. That's uncomfortable. No.
I just remember because you
Get your low-rise jeans and your belly button ring out of here. I'm not here for it.
you, like everybody your age when you were 20, had a belly button ring.
Yeah.
And I just
sure
remember, and I'll say this to all the young people listening to this, since we're turning into mom and dad here, but I'm just telling you that belly button hole, not your actual belly button, but the hole where the piercing is, looks real weird when you're pregnant. Do you remember? Do you remember when
It's pregnant. And you're saying, so I got that
you
when I was
look
16.
so weird?
And I remember one of my neighbors, like she was like our good family friend. And I was so excited. I showed her and she goes, you're going to regret that when you have a baby. And I'm like, how dare you? I was so excited. So pumped. But okay, now I'm 32. You don't see me trying to stretch that sucker open. Like, we're not doing it.
No. I don't know what I would do if you came home to me one day and said, hey, babe, and showed me that you re-pierced your belly button. I would point
But
and
that's
laugh.
the thing. They're not re-piercing them. Like, they're almost closed up. Like, those things close up really quick. And there's always like a little, like you could probably fit like an ear through. But like a belly button ring is thicker. It's a thicker gauge.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they're trying to stick suckers through there. And I'm like, no, what are we doing? This is not a thing. Can we all just be reasonable adults? All right.
I'm just
Get your digital cameras, get your low-rise jeans, and your belly button rings out of my face and off my Instagram feed. I'm over it.
I'm just picturing you walking back into the house like tomorrow and saying, "Hey, babe," and like showing me a belly button ring. I would laugh so hard at that. Oh, that would be awesome.
It'll never happen.
That'd be like me coming back home when I was in high school. I had my ears pierced, and it was the classic.
If you did,
I had two on the left and one on the right.
Which would you do first? Would you do earrings or frosted tips? Which would you bring back first?
Frosted tips. I'm going to tell you this. There's my junior year high school picture. I didn't ask for blonde tips, but what had happened was, you have to understand right when I was entering high school, my most influential, right? Like when I was easily influenced was right when Eminem was just at the peak
Marshall
of everything.
Mathers, classic.
I mean, he had My Name, The Real Slim Shady had just come out, and I'm talking all-time classic songs that we all still know the words to. That was what I was influenced by. So absolutely, when I was in 8th grade and a freshman in high school, bleach blonde hair. No problem telling you that. And then what would happen is it would grow out a little bit, and then I get my hair cut, and it was like the best frosted tips you'd ever seen, because it was just my whole head was blonde, and grew out. And my junior year, if anybody could like pull off frosted tips, those actually look nice on you. I think I could. I think I still could today. I never would, but like if someone's like, I'll give you $1,000 if you frosted your tips, in a heartbeat, and I'd pull them off like a boss.
I am so grateful that I know, like, you and I have the same hairdresser, and if you were to go, say, Shelby, give me some frosted tips.
Frost my tips.
She would call me and be like, Katie, is your husband okay? Is he suffering a mental break? Is he going through a midlife crisis? This is what he just asked me. I'm not doing it.
Here's the deal.
For your marriage, I'm not doing this.
She would. I don't think she would say that, but I do think she.
I don't think she'd do it.
I think she would call you and ask permission.
For sure, she would. 100%.
But I would bring back frosted
And if
tips.
she doesn't, Shelby, this is the precedent, please, for my marriage.
I actually just saw her last week because I had to get a fresh haircut and
Before the DMV.
before the DMV, before the new job. that I'm starting today. And, what was I just going to say about her? I forget what we were talking about. I'm sorry. Gosh darn it. I forget that. Okay, I'm sorry. My bad.
It's okay.
Just a total brain fart there.
It's the old age. The kids these days.
All right. Okay, last thing before we wrap up on this episode. Where did we see this question? Was it on Instagram yesterday?
I was on Facebook the other day.
Okay,
but I think this is good. And I think we need to preface this because I think what we're going to do is we're going to, for next week.
Yep.
We're posing this question because we just thought it was a good question. You and I looked at each other. So we're going to wrap the episode up with this. And we want to hear your answers, and then we'll share them next week.
Yeah, we're going to post this question both right here on the podcast. You'll have a poll on Spotify. If you listen on Spotify, you can answer there. Otherwise, our social media pages, if you search Facebook or Instagram, Am I Doing It Right Pod on Facebook or Instagram, you will find these questions. You can answer them, and hopefully, I'm hoping this is a brand new baby podcast. I don't know if anyone's still listening to us after a couple of weeks. I hope they are, because this is a question I think would be a lot of fun to interact with on next week's episode. And the question is, what strange habit have you picked up from your significant other during your time with them? Is there something that they did or do that you had never done before, but now you find yourself doing? You had asked me this 2 days ago. It's been 48 hours since you've asked me this question. I still don't have an answer, but I feel like there's got to be something. And I feel like there are a lot of good answers out there.
There has to be. I think there are some good answers. And, I'm still thinking on it because you and I, we've been together, not only married for 10 years now, almost.
We're coming up. We're about 8.5 is where you and I are at.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And I'm still like, I think I got to go through the week and like kind of just look at my mannerisms and you know what I mean? Be like, oh. And I think you do too, because it's now just a part of our everyday, right?
I wish you would, I wish something of mine that would sort of rub off more on you.
Say load the dishwasher.
No. I would never say that. Just your driving is pretty bad still.
That's rude.
You're a horrible driver.
I have made it so long, 16 plus years without your help. I do just fine.
You're talking about old lady. You're the slowest person on the interstate.
I get where I need to be, don't I?
I mean, but so you'll be back in time for next week's episode.
Whatever. Over you.
Thank you so much for listening to Am I Doing It Right? Mike Keller, Katie Keller. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.